Welcome YouTubers and 00 model railway enthusiasts. Welcome to my latest project, and this is the Britannia, which I got from eBay. It's spares or repair, it said, and when I opened it up, just opened it up to make sure I can give positive feedback. At first glance it doesn't look too bad. It seems to be reasonably complete. And the pickups seem to be in order there, and the cylinder head looks a bit weird. There does seem to be a split down there, so I'll have to investigate that. The tender, I'm afraid, is in a bit of a poor condition. I got it like this, although these wheels are in there. But as you can see, the wheels have separated, and that seems to be the case for all three axles. I'm not sure what this grey wheel thing is compared to the black, whether someone's trying to paint them. Also, the coupling hook between the tender and the locomotive is broken, and in fact it comes in this little packet, although the seller did mention it, so you know, fair's fair. The buffers are missing from the tender, and there is no rear coupling, so you can't attach it to anything. So either I'm going to have to get a new tender or try and get all the bits. I'll probably end up just trying to buy a new tender. Anyway, that I can wait till later on. At the moment I want to get into this one and see where I can go with this. Let's remove the front bogie. Single screw at the front here. Collar goes in there. Single screw at the rear. Has a deeper collar, longer screw, I have to remember that. That goes in there, and then there should be another screw. I think it must be this one. That is not an original tri-iron screw, that's for sure. So this immediately leads me to think that something has been done to this machine at some point. I don't think that's an original tri-iron screw. Let's see if I can now remove this. Nope, that doesn't want to come up. This is something I've missed. Sometimes you get little screws at the back. I don't see anything there. Maybe it's just been a bit stiff. You're watching this live, folks, as I'm doing it. Nope. And I can see now why there's a crack in the cylinder head, because that is broken there. Trying to keep it in camera for you folks. Alright, that's there, that's there, that's there. I wonder what's happening here. Okay, there's nothing in there. I'll just take this off, and I'll take this one off as well. I have to be careful with the couplings now. This was a chimney screw, of course. I nearly forgot about the chimney screw. Nope, there's nothing in there. Ah, I can see there's one at the front buffer. Yes. Right, so let's just remove that there. Lovely, and down the chassis drops. Take the screw out, quite a small one, leave it in there. The body doesn't look to be in bad condition. I feel something slack. The smoke deflectors are a bit slack. It's needing fitted in there. A touch of glue will help. But other than that, the buffers are intact at the front. No cracks anywhere at the back. Decal clearly show the running number. Very famous running number, 70,000. Okay, let's leave that aside. Excuse me, I have a cold present. There's a coupling screw. There should be a spacer in there, and a spacer in there. And the coupling comes off along with the right hand side. And let's move the other one as well, keep it out of the way. Put that one in there, and the spacer, and the cotton rod. Good. It's a synchro smoke unit, folks. I wonder if that works. I will get it to work. Okay, it's an XO4 motor. Some guns in there I need to get rid of. I think I shall apply power at this point. Oh, maybe it's a bad connection, but look at that. Something, guys, I think I might just have gotten away with this. I think service a motor, we might be in business here. Okay, thank you very much. Sort that out. That there. Let's take one of these out of here. There's that one. Right, let's remove the synchro smoke unit if I can. Right. Up there. Remove that from there. And put that to one side. The rocker seems to be okay. Right, 2. You'll remember at the top of the video I noticed that the cylinder block has cracked and looks as if it's been very badly glued, so I just decided to get a new one, and now I have to fit the new cylinder block and reassemble the drive gear. I have to confess I have experimented with this and I think I've now got it sussed. The important thing to remember is that there are 3 pieces of drive gear. One of them sits between the motion block and the cylinder head on each side. They're going to be fixed, so I'm going to put them in first. First thing I'm going to do, slide the cylinder box underneath the chassis. It clips into a groove. I'm not going to fit it fully in because I need a bit of leeway for the drive gear. This is for the right hand side as we look towards the front, and it's a fixed piece here with a flexible bar. Fit the back into the motion block, and the front will sit into the cylinder block. Two little grooves in there, and they should just fit in nicely. Once you get one in, the other goes in as well. In like so, and then make sure that comes out the way, and that will slide into the motion bracket. Like so. A similar process on the left side. Two lugs at the front fit into the cylinder block, this little pip here into the motion bracket. And these don't slide in and out as it moves. I took the motor out and carefully I stripped down that in there. I took out the brushes badly now. I can fix the clean block in place, the armature. I re-lubricate the fibre washers at both ends, check the coil resistances, but looking at the servo sheet, I don't think reassembled it, put it all back together, and I've tried it my rolling road and it runs really nice. Without all that heavy sparking we had earlier on. Cylinder block. So now it's time for reassembly. So I'm going to start with the drive mechanism here, and it's fairly fixed and settles in nice. The next part to assemble is the coin rod. The coin rods are not interchangeable. The thing about the coin rod is that it's designed so that these two oil well parts go, this one here goes towards the back. So if I bring the wheel round, bring that wheel round, and then the third wheel round, and they should all line up. You might also notice that I've removed the motor. That allows the gear wheel to spin freely. Apply the spacer, and now I have to put in this sliding bar. Sliding bar fits into the front here. And into the cylinder block. Like so. Upside down, that won't help. Into the cylinder block, over the top of the drive bar, a little bit of hooks in there, and then that should sit on top of the spacer. And it should sit down on the spindle, fine. And then the last bit is this little connecting bar that will sit onto the wheel. Maybe something like that. Come round like that, there we go. And finally, the little screw that holds it all together. Fine screwdriver tip, put it in there, and that should allow the coin rods to move. It does. Now to do the same on the other side. The coin rod, this should fit quite nicely on the wheels because the other side's keeping it together. In there, lovely. Spacer onto the spindle. And now for the other drive rod. into the cylinder block, sits over the top, and there's a little flange sits behind the drive bar, and that will sit onto the spindle. And now I can place the connecting rod and it just sits there somehow, and then finally the little screw into the screw hole and wind it in gently, make sure it works, and everything moves lovely, nicely and freely. Put it on my road, it's running there. So a little tightening of the screws, make sure they're okay. That one in there, that one in there, and hopefully you can see how freely they are running. Forward and reverse, and reverse on the other side, and now going forward, and I don't see anything catching or likely to catch, so I'll be giving that a wee bit of lubrication in the next camera break. Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to fit the motor. The motor, which has already been cleaned, lubricated, the coils been tested, I've had new brush heads fitted, checked all the insulation, and it's ready to run. I've also checked that it works by applying power gently, so I'll just slide that in, make sure the wheel engages with the worm screw. That's okay. Retaining screw for the back of the motor goes in here. Fine. And the last thing to do is put the connector clip onto the positive side of the motor. That's done by pushing gently on the insulating sleeve, lift the other brush up a wee bit, slide the connector in, and both grooves should then coincide, and there you have the motor assembled. Okay, let's bring in my rolling rod. It's an H&M rolling rod. I don't think it's as good as a Hornby, but I got it quite cheap, so I'll use it as long as I can. There's power there. Make sure that's out the way. Power on, and we should see some movement. It sometimes needs a little bit of a nudge to make better contact, but you can see that definitely the motor was trying to turn. It's not a problem with the locomotive, it's to do with my rolling rod. It's nearly there. Nearly there. Come on, baby. Okay, what I'll do is I'll take the power directly onto the locomotive. And if I hold it up, we should see it's now starting to work. There we go. So the locomotive itself is fine, and in reverse direction, there it goes. And I haven't got a lot of power attached there at all. Let's sit it on the road and see what happens. Yeah, definitely rolling road is needing a bit of attention. Get up and hopefully you can see the mechanism working very well, very smoothly. I'm only on about half power at the moment, so let's take it back. I'm going to stop there. I'll be back in a few minutes. You'll remember when I opened it up that I was quite surprised to see a smoke unit, but in fact when I looked underneath again, printed here, you should see the letters SU, which apparently is a designation that although it's an R259, it has a smoke unit fitted sometime after 1964. The Triang smoke unit built in Britain, it says here. So I had a look at it, and the cap comes off very easily, and according to a diagram I looked at in here, should be an element which is obviously missing. So I'm going to have to try and source a new element. I know the part number, so if anyone out there is aware of where to get a Triang X549 element, I'd greatly appreciate it. Obviously I'm going to put it into a favourite search on eBay to see if any turn up. I would just love to see this smoking. Well, I got to the stage where I've now got my locomotive working, mechanism's running okay, and so I'm going to take it and put it on my track and see if it runs. Well, here I am beside my little test track. It's not much at the moment. Put it on there. Let's wind up the power and see what happens. Maybe the wheels need a bit of clean. Let's see if even nudge will help. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's see if I can round. Let me try and give you a better shot. I got to the southern waiting patiently. Here she comes. Yeah, that seems to be alright. I'm behind the rubbish box. Coming in there. Okay. So, final recap on my restoration of this beautiful little Britannia. I got from eBay, under £20. Spent a couple of pounds on the cylinder block. I'll need to get an element for the smoke generator. I need to buy a new tender, so it could cost me another £20, but she's going to run again, and I'll just look forward to updating you on how that goes as soon as I possibly can. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later on YouTube. Bye.